Hey everyone! So a quick message before we start the video. While I was working on this video, we hit 100 subscribers. And I just want to thank you all for subscribing and watching. The Bayonet Appreciation Club army may not be the largest, but we are still the finest army I have ever seen. Thank you all for taking an interest in what I have to say. And if you haven't subscribed yet, help a brother out and make that subscribe button go from red to gray. But now, I hope you enjoy the video. Cue intro. Let's not beat around the bush. You've probably seen a video like this before. Just about every PokeTuber under the sun has made a video about what their Pokemon champion team would be. And let's be honest, as kids, we also thought about what team we would use if we were a champion in one of the games. So having said that, it's about time to let all you wonderful people know what team I would use if I was a Pokemon champion. However, I was not satisfied with only making one team. No. I made 4 teams, each one fulfilling a specific purpose. These are what these 4 teams are meant to represent. Team 1 is the First Encounter team, also known as the Fun team, but First Encounter team sounds cooler. This would be the team that you'd face off against in our first battle, where the champion usually isn't as strong as they can be. It's also called the Fun team because it's mostly filled with Pokemon I just really like, even if they may not exactly be the strongest. Team 2 is the Rematch team, also called the Serious team. This is the team I would use when you rematch the league, where after seeing how strong you were, I decided to take off the gloves and get serious, changing my team around in the process to have better type matchups. Team 3 is my regional champion team. In this team, I'll choose a specific region and restrict myself to only having Pokemon from that regional dex. Finally is Team 4, the Monotype team. You can probably guess what this team's gimmick is. For the sake of example, I'll be assigning the following levels. I'll have 2 lower leveled Pokemon, being level 60, 2 slightly stronger Pokemon at level 61 each, a sort of secondary ace that's level 62, and finally my ace, who will be level 64. But of course these levels are just examples. If I was the champion of a region with lower level trainers, like Johto, then my Pokemon would also be lower leveled. And in rematch battles, my Pokemon would be much higher leveled. I will also go over what EVs and natures my Pokemon would have, and give them items, and just assume that they have perfect IVs too. But now, let's dive into the topic at hand, with Team 1, the First Encounter team. In this team, I would start with the level 60 Gastrodon. Gastrodon would have the Storm Drain ability, the Quiet nature, and would have a Quick Claw. Gastrodon will be full EV trained in defense and special defense, with the remaining EV points and HP, making it a great wall to start with. Its moveset would be Scald, Earth Power, Recover, and Ice Beam. With its defensive EVs and Recover, Gastrodon is meant to stall you out for as long as possible. But even if you send out a Grass type, then that would just lead me to my next Pokemon, which would be Ninetales. Well, too bad. Ninetales would be level 60, have the Flash Fire ability, a modest nature, and would hold the Wise Glasses. The modest nature is pretty ironic. It's a quality cereal. Ninetales' EVs would go full in with special attack and speed, with the remaining points in HP, and her moveset is Flamethrower, Psyshock, Energy Ball, and Calm Mind. Next up is level 61 Corviknight. Corviknight has the Mirror Armor ability, a Careful nature, and would hold the Rocky Helmet. Corviknight is full EV trained in attack and defense, and the remaining points in HP. Finally, its moveset is Drill Peck, Steel Wing, Iron Defense, and Body Press. So yeah, I hope your answer to Corviknight isn't a physical attacker. Next is Gallade at level 62. Oh yeah, even though I mentioned that level format before, this first team doesn't actually follow that format. Gallade would be an Adamant Steadfast Gallade, holding an Expert Belt. With full attack and speed EVs, and 6 HP EVs, Gallade is an offensive threat, with Psycho Cut, Brick Break, Night Slash, and Swords Dance. And finally is my 2 aces. Yes, 2. My level 64 Mimikyu with the Disguise ability, an Impish nature, and a Life Orb. Mimikyu's EVs would be 252 in attack and speed, with the remaining 6 points in HP. Mimikyu is also an offensive threat, with Shadow Claw, Play Rough, Drain Punch, and Swords Dance. My second ace is Banette, cause you know, Bayonetta Appreciation Club. It's kinda my whole thing. Bayonette would have Insomnia, a Jolly Nature, and Bright Powder. Bayonette would be full EV trained in attack and speed, with her remaining points in HP. Her moveset would be Shadow Claw, Sucker Punch, Will-O-Wisp, and Dazzling Gleam. So that was all for the first encounter team. But what about my rematch team? How would I change my team if I decide to get serious and really focus on winning our next match? Well, let's find out. This time around, I start off with a level 80 Galvantula. I'm increasing the levels since this is the rematch team. Galvantula has the Compound Eyes ability, a Modest Nature, and holds Wide Lens. Galvantula is EV trained in special attack and speed. And you know what? Unless I specify otherwise, just assume that the last 6 EVs go to HP. Galvantula knows Bug Buzz, Thunder, Energy Ball, and Charge Beam. With Compound Eyes and the Wide Lens, Thunder is 100% accurate, so make sure to plan around that. Next up is level 80 Gastrodon. Gastrodon has the same setup as before, so let's move on to the third member. The actual new team member is level 81 Hisuian Zoroark. From what I've seen, if abilities were in Legends Arceus, then Hisuian Zoroark would also have Illusion. Zoroark would have a Lonely Nature and would hold the Scope Lens. With special attack and speed EVs, Zoroark can use Swift, Shadow Ball, or Bitter Malice, depending on how Bitter Malice will work in the main series, Flamethrower, and Nasty Plot. But Zoroark was actually the last new team member. The next few are level 81 Corviknight, level 82 Gallade, and my ace, level 84 Mimikyu, all of which have the same setup. So now with the 2 teams I'd most likely use out of the way, we're doing the regional champion team. And as a Sinnoh baby, I of course am choosing to be the champion of the Sinnoh region. For this team, I'm using the Platinum decks, because the BDSP decks, yeah, I mean, they do have the Underground, but no, I'm just using the Platinum decks, you know, like BDSP should have done. The first member of this team is Froslass. At level 60, Froslass has the Snowcloak ability, a Modest Nature, and holds Bright Powder. Froslass is fully EV trained in special attack and speed, and knows Ice Beam, Shadow Ball, Will-O-Wisp, and Hail. Oh yeah, Hail, Snowcloak, and Bright Powder. Get ready for your 100% accuracy moves to have the same accuracy as Thunder. Just be glad I have enough honor to not include Double Team. But after Froslass, we once again have Gastrodon, level 60, and still the same setup. What can I say? I like Gastrodon. At level 61, we have Togekiss. Cynthia may have gone easy on us, with her Togekiss having Hustle instead of Serene Grace, but I am not so merciful. Togekiss has Serene Grace, a Modest Nature, and holds Leftovers. Being EV trained in special attack and speed, Togekiss knows Dazzling Gleam, Air Slash, Flamethrower, and Nasty Plot. Get ready for flinches and burns galore. After Togekiss is level 61 Rampardos, having Mold Breaker, a Jolly Nature, a Focus Sash, and being EV trained in attack and speed, Rampardos can cause some serious damage. Its moves are Stone Edge, Earthquake, Rock Slide, and Zen Headbutt. Next is level 62 Bronzong. Bronzong has Levitate, a Brave Nature, and a Citrus Berry. Bronzong is the first Pokemon to have a different EV spread. Bronzong's only stat with maxed out EVs is its defense stat. Then its attack and special attack have 129 EVs each. Bronzong also has 0 speed IVs. Bronzong knows Gyro Ball, Psychic, Iron Defense, and Body Press. Finally is my ace, a level 64 Shiny Electivire. My very first shiny was Electabuzz in Platinum, though I already went over this story in a previous video. But back to Electivire. Electivire has Static, a quirky nature, and would hold an air balloon. Electivire has max speed EVs, and a balance between its attack and special attack EVs. And for its moveset, it would know Thunderbolt, Ice Punch, Brick Break, and Earthquake. And now we get to the final champion team, the Monotype team. Take a quick guess on what my favorite type is. So as the first Ghost type champion, I would start off with a level 60 Frostlass. However, this Frostlass is slightly different from the last one. While its nature and EVs are the same, everything else is different. Frostlass now has Cursed Body and holds a Focus Sash. For her moveset, Frostlass still has Ice Beam and Shadow Ball, but now has Destiny Bond and Spikes. Because my team is all Ghost type, you won't be able to easily get rid of Spikes. As such, Frostlass's main strategy is to set up as many spikes as she can, and once the Focus Sash is used up, it will be followed up with a Destiny Bond. So yeah, I hope you plan around that. Next up is Jellicent. I actually have a shiny Frillish too, so if I wanted, I could make this Pokemon shiny, but it's not my ace, so I don't really see the point. But hey, if Ghost Champion Daniel made an appearance in the anime, then maybe it could be shiny there. Level 60 Jellicent would have Water Absorb, a modest nature, and leftovers. Jellicent would be EV trained in defense and special defense. And I think you can see where this is going. Jellicent has Scald, Shadow Ball, Recover, and Ominous Wind. Like Gastrodon before, Jellicent is meant to stall you out, and maybe get a burn with Scald, or an Omni Boost from Ominous Wind. And you know, since all my team will be weak to Ghost types, I'll need a safe switch in. So here comes level 61, Hisuian Zoroark. Zoroark has the same setup as before. At level 62, we have Dragapult. I mean, how can I call myself the Ghost type champion if I don't use the first Ghost type pseudo legendary? With Clear Body, an Adamant Nature, and an Assault Vest, Dragapult is EV trained in attack and speed, so I hope you have a good defensive wall. Dragapult knows Dragon Darts, Phantom Force, U-Turn, and Steel Wing. Now finally we have my two aces. You can probably guess who they are. At level 64 each, we have my two aces, Mimikyu and Banette, and they have the same setup. And there you have it. If I was a Pokemon champion, these are the teams you would have to face off against. So tell me, would you like to face off against these teams? What would you use if you were a champion? Let me know in the comments below. Have a nice day! If Ghost Champion Daniel made an appearance in the anime.